Welcome to Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. Join the Podcast Mogul Phil Better as he interviews successful entrepreneurs that make their living in the digital world. Now, let's join your host, Phil Better, and his special guest today on Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast.
Welcome back, dear listeners, to another empowering episode of Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Phil Better, the Podcast Mogul, and today we have an expert joining us whose insights are poised to transform your financial landscape. Now, let me set the stage for you. Picture this: you got big dreams and ambitious goals, like we all do, but perhaps your credit score isn't singing your praises. Fear not, because today's guest is here to guide you through the labyrinth of credit repair and financial management. Our guest specializes in the art of credit repair and credit leveraging coaching. With over 2 decades of experience under his belt, he dedicated his career to helping individuals and entrepreneurs boost their credit score, all while mastering the intricate dance of finance stewardship. Whether aiming to skyrocket your credit score or strategize ways to leverage credit for your business endeavors, he's the go-to guru you've been searching for. So if you're ready to unravel the mysteries of credit repair, embrace the power of financial literacy, you're in for a treat. Please welcome and extending a warm welcome to our esteemed guest, none other than the maestro of money himself, the maestro of credit himself, Michael Charles. Michael, thank you so much for being here.
Hey there. Thank you for having me. And I appreciate the intro. Definitely a beautiful introduction on your part.
Thank you very much. It's my, it's always been my goal to be like the hype man for some band or something. So it's like every episode I'm a hype man for the guests. At least I can do that to showcase how awesome you guys are when you come onto the show.
Yeah. It helps out, man. It helps out a lot.
Good. I'm glad. I'll continue doing it then. Michael, let's just jump right into this interview. Why did you become a digital entrepreneur? What was it about entrepreneurship that sparked the curiosity for you to venture into this world?
Well, honestly, for me, if I were to really break it down, I'd say I wanted to do something that mattered. I wanted to do something that would last and positively impact others. That's really my main focus and my goal. If you really think about it, in businesses altogether, they provide some type of goal. They all have some type of goal to help consumers, help other people. And mine, I wanted to do that towards credit.
I love that. So how did your story with credit start? Because not everybody is financially literate. We don't get taught about credit in school until we hit university and get, hey, have a free credit card to $5,000. Then all of a sudden, you're never climbing out of that hole. But some people do, because they either talk with someone like yourself, start reading books, they start educating themselves. What was it about credit? Like, did you have a story with credit that you're like, well, I've overcome this, now I want to help others?
Yeah. And you hit it right on the nail. We're really not taught this, especially in school. So we graduate high school or, even college at that sometimes, where we get out and we're introduced into this world and have to start buying homes, cars, and so forth, and being bombarded with credit applications left and right and not knowing really what to do. And really for me, I went through that journey. And when I started to actually notice that everything that I needed really required credit. When I needed to buy a house, it required credit. When I needed to get a car, it required credit. And everybody around me started to experience the same thing. So first time really deep diving into it was when I had to buy a house. A realtor sat me down and said, okay, you thought you were here, but you're really not. You need to establish a profile, credit mix that's strong enough for you to get qualified for this home. And that really took me into that journey, into understanding credit. And then it took me to the next stage in life to where I wanted to figure out how to repair credit, because I had people around me, family members that had those type of challenges. So I, started that journey and used YouTube University was one point of guidance, right? That was really where I spent hours and hours just educating myself and implementing the things I was educating. So, that's one thing about entrepreneurship. Like, you learn so much. It's really when you do something about it. So when I started to apply those things in my life and other people's lives around me, I realized this is golden. And I have to share it with the world. So I decided to make it into a business. And instead of also just doing credit repair. I also do credit education because I feel like that's the foundation of it all, and that's the foundation of growth.
So, in essence, you're trying to bankrupt one of your businesses by building the other side of your business. Because if you have financial literacy, you probably won't need credit fixing support. Right?
Hmm.
You think about it. Like obviously now having both is beneficial because you're investing in the future by
Hmm.
helping people coach the younger generations on how to build proper credit and maintain that proper credit because that's always going to be there, right? But
Yep.
then you also have your current business, which is repair, but
Yep.
one's going to cancel out the other. But
Yeah.
you know, but you're helping both sides of the table. You know, you're building the future for better, and soon they'll start going to the other business. I love that. I love how you're solving two problems at once.
Exactly. So everybody's at different stages in their life. So, once you go through that credit repair portion of things, you start wanting to know how to leverage credit. And that's really where the education comes into play. So it's being able to leverage credit in that aspect. And again, I'm able to solve two problems at once, and individuals at certain stages in their lives and timing in their life too, because a lot of people just don't have the time and really have that, I guess, fear mindset of credit as a whole, and was just rather just toss it to somebody else to do it for them.
Yeah, some people are like, I don't have the time for this, but I have the money for it. So, like, that's what the two things is. You either have the time or the money
Yep.
to pay in one way or the other.
Yep.
How did you find? Because obviously, the community, your niche that you work in,
Mhm.
vastly different than most people. Um, how did you find being a person of color in an industry that's pretty much dominated by white people? To be honest, like I'm trying to find the most politically correct way of
You
asking
just
this
said-
question, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to call a spade a spade. Yeah, like how do you like being a person of color in this industry that's dominated by white
Uh-huh.
people, pretty much? How did you find your entrance? Like, how did people treat you? Did you find that it was harder for you to prove yourself, or did you let your numbers speak for themselves?
Really having numbers speaks for themselves, but in honesty, credit repair, credit in the general, it's if my numbers are correct, it's like a $30 billion industry. There's enough in the barrel for me to grab individuals, right? For me to grab people and to find my way into the business. So it's really finding your voice. People are more attracted to who you are as a person, not what you do. So everybody has a certain styles on how they do that. So it's who I am as a person that attracts individuals to me, and I'm able to grow and able to attract based off of my personality, my character, and my brand and what I stand for. So I just stood on those grounds and stood on that foundation in itself, and I just started to grow. And
Oh,
that's really what anybody needs in any industry. So it's white, black, indifferent, doesn't matter. Anybody can come into any field and really dominate.
I love that. I love that. Standing on your principles, standing on your values is something's core. I think we're seeing a lot more of that, and because it comes to authenticity
Mhm. There you
and
go.
just being authentic, and you're very authentic because you help people around you. You like you said when you first started, you were helping your family members so that they could understand this, and like you have a track record of helping, and that's like just proving in your values. And like you said, it attracts the right people who want to work with you
Mhm.
and get past those barriers. What would you say has been the biggest investment that you've made in yourself, like either monetarily wise or in a free lesson, a mentorship, a program, or something that you've seen pay dividends throughout your career or throughout your life?
I would say mentorship, guidance, really fast track my success in a way. We touched on something earlier. You either pay with your time or pay with your money. And paying with your time, I wasn't looking to spend 5 years, 10 years to really build I guess, an understanding in that field. So I utilized or leveraged credit or leverage cash, other people's money in a sense, right? To be able to afford mentorships, the right mentorships to guide me through and basically fast track my success and not saying that, oh, this, I was able to be successful in months. No, I had to learn across the way, but I had somebody to lean on and somebody else's perspective of the path that I'm going into. Because as an entrepreneur, sometimes you can be tunnel vision into thinking you're doing the right things, but in actuality, you're really not. So by having somebody over you or somebody that's been there before can either, can continue to steer you in the right direction. So mentorship is the biggest investment that I've made that's projected my path.
I love that. I love the mentorship. It's so important too, because without, like you said, they can push you out of the way of certain troubles, can foresee troubles coming down because of their expertise,
Mm.
and they can give you pretty much the blueprint. Here, this is what I did. Just follow and put in your pieces,
Yeah.
and it solves a lot of it solves some of the issues that come up because you're already prepared for them. You already have the steps in advance.
Mhm.
And it's just like credit repair, right? Like, and credit literacy, like you learn what will work for you and what won't to build. Um, I'm interested because both as individuals and entrepreneurs, they strive to reach their financial goals like we all do. Leveraging credit can be a powerful tool.
Mhm.
Um, would you like to highlight one lesser known strategy or tactic for effectively leveraging credit to start or scale a business? And maybe if you have a success story, you can share that with us.
With success story, I have many, but with strategies and tips, it's, for a business, if you're looking from an entrepreneurial perspective for a startup, a lot of challenges that entrepreneurs have, they have an idea or they have a concept, but they lack the capital. You can leverage credit to gain access or gain success in your career a lot faster and grow a lot bigger faster, but responsibly at the same time, right? You want to be responsible in that growth, and that's why education is important. You have to come in with the right mindset and understanding how you're going to utilize credit to do so. But you can put yourself in a position to where if you have good personal credit, you can leverage that personal credit to gain funding for your business. And with that funding, you are able to purchase a vehicle, purchase equipment, purchase rent or purchase a property where you can actually have a foundation for it, rather than you working years and years to build that cash flow, or sorry, that cash to buy that building or buy that property or buy that investment. You can leverage credit in that aspect. So it all starts with your personal credit. Everything dives deep in with that. So when you go to the banks and you're asking for funding, they obviously want to know your business, but your business has no records. Your business has no history. Who are they going to lean on? They're going to lean on the business owner's history and record to determine any lending ability or any lending approvals. So you have to have that strong personal credit by building a mix and also having limited to no negative items or derogatory marks on your credit report.
I love that. I love that, and that's a great piece of advice for our entrepreneurs that can take their business to the next level by leveraging their personal credit as well.
Mhm.
Throughout your career, you have over 2 decades, which by far impressive numbers for staying in the credit world.
Mhm.
Um, what's a piece of advice you would have for someone who's looking to start in the credit world? Let's say, you know what, I repaired my credit. I want to help others repair their credit. I want to help my community repair their credit. I want to build a business like, RSC Credit Freedom. What piece of advice would you have for them?
I'd say I'd say never underestimate the power of persistence. Um, Keep going. Every no is leading you closer to a yes. When you're starting in this journey in credit or any entrepreneurial path, you're going to end up bouncing against walls. You're going to feel like you are not going to be able to grow and succeed, but you have to remain persistent and continue to grow. And when it came to my path itself, like I said, it started with friends and family, people that are close to me. I started to build a reputation with them, and that expanded to others outside, and others began to trust. So in the realm of entrepreneurship or in mentorship, I learned that you have to develop a know, like, and trust. Know, like, and trust environment for people to really want to buy from you, right? So you have to have you have to have a background. You have to have some type of track record of knowing what you're doing. So build that with people that are closest to you. If you're into cooking, always present that, show. There's other ways to go about it, but I would say definitely just remain persistent. And if you've been given a dream, if you've been given a thought or an idea of business to own for yourself, keep going.
I love that. That's some great advice. That persistence is great advice, because without persistence, you can't achieve greatness. How is it that you came up with the name for RSC Credit Freedom? Like, what was it that made you decide this? First of all, those 3 letters or that full name? Like, how did that come about?
Well, starting off with RSC is actually the initials of my wife. So that just automatically stuck with it. So I was like, okay, that's the starting point. And then Credit Freedom Solution. Credit is obviously the field that I'm going. It's just connecting the dots. So my objective is to get people free from the limited belief mindset that everybody has when it comes to credit, when it comes to growth in itself. So I want to provide a solution to provide freedom in credit with my wife. I'm kidding, with the RSC, but yeah, in all aspects, to be honest, yes, it's about freedom. It's about really removing limited beliefs, removing a stigma of I have to live with this for however long, 7 years for collections on your report, inquiries, 2 years. You don't have to live with bad credit. You can, so there is life after bad credit, and it's really, you have to take action and you have to take the initiative to push through it. And again, that's really what my company stands for, is to help people grow through what they're going through.
I love that. I love that tagline too. Help you grow through what you're going through. That's a gee. If that's not your tagline, it should be.
I'm taking it.
You're taking it. Good. I'm glad. Hey, look at that. This podcast already is growing and already investing, helping entrepreneurs market.
Yeah.
What are some of the common challenges faced by entrepreneurs in this day and age when they look at maybe not by crediting their by rebuilding their credit?
I'm sorry, camera.
No problem. I figured I heard the buzzing.
Yeah.
If I have to re-ask the question, just let me know.
Yes, if you can, please.
So I was wondering, given you coaching people and you're focusing on the credit, right? What are some of the challenges you see faced by the entrepreneurs and the people that you help, business owners, when they look to start repairing their credit? Like, what are some of the what is probably the challenge that stands out that you see?
I would say the lack of knowledge in that area, and lack of knowledge of credit in that area, in its own sense, and that lack of knowledge introduces fear. And when you have fear, you tend to allow anxieties, and tend to allow certain things to get in your way of actually producing a positive goal or positive outcome in your path. So again, when you have that lack of knowledge, you kind of put yourself in a box. You have to take yourself out the box. You have to be creative with your thinking. You have to be open to failure. You have to be open to knowing you have to be open to understanding that I don't know anything. I don't know everything, and I'm willing to learn. So be a sponge. So I would say is lack of knowledge, and that unwilling to get out of that box. And that's one thing that I noticed that entrepreneurs go through. And I really feel like if we really get out of ourselves, we're able to really grow past whatever we believe that we are. So start believing in yourself and truly believe in the decision that you made when you decided to become an entrepreneur. So you always want to go back to that original thought, like, why are you doing that? Go back to your why. And that will all keep you going forward, and that will keep you positive through the endless nights of you not sleeping, of you building your brand and building yourselves and building your knowledge base, and you're always learning. That's something that I'm realizing every single day. I am always learning something new, and that's what I make sure that I do, like listening to a podcast, and listening to a speech or reading a book, introducing a book. I was never a book reader until now, until recently, I should say.
Speaking of books, because I've always been a reader, and I think reading is probably one of the fastest way, or one of the quickest ways to download knowledge into your cerebellum, if you will, using some fancy terms, because I feel like it. But what book would you suggest to our listeners who are looking to start their journey repairing their credit or becoming financially literate, so that they can understand the power of credit? Let's say either I have bad credit, right? I'm not going to say shit credit, but bad credit, and I have good credit. I'm looking to either start my journey learning, or I have good credit and I want to take it to the next level. I want to see what power credit has for me.
Well, I have many resources available to you. So if you guys want to reach out to me, you can definitely see that. But you can definitely reach out, and I'll be happy to give you or show you where you can find it. But to be honest, for credit specifically, there's really no book, no direct guide to credit. Everybody has their own way of tackling it. Honestly, and for me, the way I learned credit in general, is piecing things together. Again, countless hours and time of really figuring out certain aspects of things, right? Certain laws, when it came to understanding that you as a consumer, you have consumer rights, and that these credit agencies and credit bureaus are abusing your rights. And if you don't stand for it, they'll just continue to go ahead and report inaccurate, negative items on your report when they don't have the right to do so. So taking the time to read through those laws and understanding those laws is something that I had to do. I didn't learn that through a book. I learned that through just self-application of information that's available to me. And again, YouTube University is one path, and really just going through. So going through the motions and going through the tests and trials. And that's why I say getting a mentor is really important, because they've gone through the tests and trials and they can teach you. They can you sit with you on a Zoom call or sit with you on the phone call and just tell you those little things. So there's no traditional form of knowledge of credit that I can say that you can find or I can recommend. But again, I have resources that I've created through my journey and my experiences. Everybody's experience is different. Again, it can resonate with some people. It may not resonate, but I've written my story down in books. So I would say the stuff that I would recommend.
Hey, there's no harm in self-promotion, right? If you have I was wondering, like, do you have a book that talks about your journey, or even tips and tricks or anything regarding the credit that you do?
Yeah, I do. You can definitely find it. On my social media, I have a link tree page where I have all the additional resources, and daily I am working on the back end too to provide what people are looking for. So one challenge people experience is having letters, right? Creating those dispute letters for repairing their credit for themselves. So I've developed a library where you have pre-made templates for you. You can just put in your information, and then you can send that off to the credit bureaus with instructions, right? There's a 5-step roadmap to credit mastery. That's an ebook that I have created that's available on my website and on my social media sites. So if you visit those, you can find that credit boost guide, a DIY credit guide to do it for yourself. I have again a wide range, and you can find it on you can go to my Instagram, Michael C242, and that would be a perfect starting point.
Of course. Like anything, of the show notes, of course, if you're listening, we'll have all the links to this as well. I made sure that they're there, so you can click those. Michael, where do you see yourself in 5 years? snap my fingers, we're 5 years in the future. What is Mike doing? Is he on the beaches in Bahamas, or is he traveling the world in China? What is Mike doing? What is Michael doing?
Continuing to do what I'm doing, but on a grander scale. Um, when I picked this path, it wasn't a path to say, I'm just going to do for a couple of years and find something else to do. My objective is to continue to help in the areas that I can for as long as I can. So in 5 years, if I am still effective in educating individuals and providing assistance with credit, with funding, I'm praying that I'm continuing to do so, and again, the goal is to be at a grander scale and to reach the masses. So that's really where I see myself in 5 years. And if by chance I'm on the beaches at the Bahamas, I'm there.
If it just so happens that I get
just
to
so
do it on
happens
the beaches, I'll do it too, which is quite fair. One final piece of advice you have for my audience, like if you could leave them with only one thing that they're taking away from this episode, what is that piece of advice?
Just start. I would say, even if it's small steps, just start it. Do the processes, right? If you're not in a position to go full on in and invest into yourself, and I say that purposely, invest in yourself. You have to put yourself first in that in that area and grow yourself. Just start at least. There is actually one book, Atomic Habits. I forgot who the author is, but the name of the book is Atomic Habits. If you start doing smaller things, it becomes bigger and it becomes part of you as you continue those small tasks in life. So I would say just start. Fear is natural. Don't let that stop you. Again, start small if you have to, but just start.
Excellent, Mike. That's a great piece of advice. Now we're gonna go back in time. I'm gonna bring 10-year-old Michael. He's here. He's a spitfire. Let me tell you, he wouldn't stop running around my room. It's been crazy. However, I want to know. I got him to settle down here. What's one piece of advice that you wish you were given when you were 10?
Take hold of your confidence. I would say I let a lot of self-doubt really stopped me from really chasing my dreams. And again, being in that environment where you're really not taught to be a thinker, you're taught to be a doer. I've always been a doer. I thought I was successful by always having a job, by being able to pay the bills, by being able to support my family. But in all, I was literally just a monkey in a field at the end of the day, right? Just living day to day, not really knowing where I'm going to go, where am I going to go, where my next dollar is going to come, or letting the next person control when the next dollar is going to come, in a sense, right? So I would definitely advise myself, just take hold of your confidence. What gift God's given you, take hold of that and run with it.
I love it. I think that's some great advice, and I can't wait to provide that to my nephew. Because if you don't know, I'm using these pieces of advice for a book for my nephew. But Michael, I'm going to jump off. I'm going to give you one last opportunity here. Let my audience know where's the best place they can find you. All those wonderful links. The floor, sir, is yours.
All right. I appreciate this opportunity to really be on this platform, just to start off on that. But for me, you can find me at RSC Credit Freedom Solutions.com. That's our website. As far as social media, our social media handles are Michael C242. Again, that's Michael C242. And really just reach out. DMs are wide open. I am an open book. I'm always willing to reach out. I'm always willing to teach and provide value to anybody that's really seeking it. So at the end of the day, really feel free and reach out to me.
Awesome. Michael, thank you again for being an amazing guest on the podcast. I can't thank you enough. And I hope people listening will be able to do something to fix their credit, because that's the most important thing in life. Or if they're listening to this, to go contact you to take their credit in hand.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. Again, we're an open book. We do free consultations. So, conversation with me is not going to cost you a dime. So definitely reach out.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you again for listening. Check out the show notes down below to connect with Michael. And once again, always remember to invest in yourself.